There isn't a place in America quite like Memphis, Tennessee, a city full of various cultures, forms of entertainment, and architecture. Memphis is a city that has always interested me due to its history and seemingly strange energy that the city seems to exude. This can especially be seen in the area's music, an intriguing mix of country, rockabilly, and most notably, Memphis Rap. Memphis Rap is unlike any sound in rap music and just music in general, with its atmospheric instrumentation, lo-fi production, dark imagery, and unique vocal flow. Memphis Rap's sound can be described as ethereal and otherworldly, with many often wondering what makes such a niche genre so different from anything else, and if there is something more sinister and supernatural behind it. Join me tonight as we investigate various conspiracies and urban legends regarding the genre. This is the Memphis Rap Sigils. The exciting world of rap and hip-hop has seen more than its fair share of conspiracy theories and odd urban legends since its inception. From Tupac still being alive, reptilians running the music industry, Jay-Z being a time traveler, and so much more, it's safe to say that rap has had more than enough content to keep the average conspiracy theorist's hunger satiated. However, despite these being essentially fun time wasters to discuss with homies over a cold brew and some good weed, the deeper you go down the rabbit hole, the weirder and admittedly more interesting things get. The Memphis Rap Sigils is a proposed conspiracy theory regarding the strange and otherworldly energy revolving around the Memphis rap scene during the 80s and 90s. Everything from hidden gateways to hell, Egyptian god worship, ritualistic killings, and more. The concept of this conspiracy came to fruition on the export of 4chan around August of 2017, where it was discussed and mentioned on an early conspiracy iceberg, with people asking what the phrase meant. However, those asking only got a few handful of replies, with most commonly saying that the music released during this time had occult ties, which isn't exactly news to anyone who spends any amount of time listening to the music. Despite this, more information began to pop up about more specific info on the sigils themselves. According to a post made in an X thread regarding the sigils, a user links to two projects, Hellraiser by Maniac and Going Undercover by Lil Ramsey. The post states, "Both of these tapes, if you can find originals, have what you're looking for. The idea is sort of that because the artists/producers committed several murders and the location where they took place holds a lot of leftover soul energy from the lives that were taken. The lingering energy of known tragedies in the area goes back as far as the history of the United States, with some big Indian massacres, then onto slavery, then civil war, and then about 100 years more of violence until you get to the 1990s, where Memphis was within the top 5 murder capitals in the country, I believe. Basically, if you believe the Luciferian idea that it's possible to take a life and manifest that energy into something that becomes real in a sort of ritual, there would be some kind of medium between the spirit world and the world we know to be true. The true life energy, the death energy, the demon, the magnetic taping in the tapes." With this post, the concept was beginning to be fully introduced and got kind of bonkers. The Memphis Rap Sigils are a ritualistic means of capturing the energy of a murdered soul through recording it on a cassette tape. Many have tied this to some form of chaos magic, a DIY and experimental form of magic popularized in England in the 1970s that, according to Wikipedia, involves stripping all magical techniques down to their barest essence. In any practice from any magical tradition, it can be incorporated under the banner of chaos magic, from satanic ritual to Wiccan sabbats to energy healing to tantric practices, etc. So if the practice of sigil creation by many of the artists tied to the Memphis scene is to be believed, then many have hypothesized the steps of said ritual. These include the murder of someone, recording said murder, usually in audio format, chop up that audio and sample it in the songs, return to the scene of the crime and rap over the beat, put it on a mixtape, sell the mixtape, have people listen to it in order to charge the sigil, and finally harness the sigil's energy to grant enough power to whatever it is you desire. Now this sounds very out there. Essentially in layman's terms, these cassette mixtapes are actually magical artifacts conjured by evil rap wizards in order to manifest whatever they desired, usually power and fortune. One 4chan post in a thread compares this to the overall dark energy of Memphis, stating that Memphis is a regional hotbed of occultism according to some sources. It's named after Memphis, Egypt, and has several landmarks which pay homage to its namesake. Per the Memphis Rap Sigils, they ritually murdered some people in the name of Satan, that apparently made them rich and famous for a few years. Even if 3 6 Mafia isn't directly involved, their name is a direct reference to what happened. 3 6 Mafia became really famous really fast and then fell into obscurity within a short amount of time. As the months went on, more information began to be released. In October of 2017, the Memphis Rap Sigils finally had a full explanation as well as a list of the 8 current supposed cassettes that hold the magical energy in them. These tapes are 10 Wanted Men, 4 Corners Part 3, Children of the Deep in the Woods, Maniac, Hellraiser, Lil Ramsey, Magnolia aka Down with Magnolia feat Tommy Wright III, HOH Outro, NOD Self-Titled, Mr. Tinny Main, Last Man Standing, Psycho, Welcome to the Graveyard. As well as this, a user known as Romantis Anon posted the following information regarding the Memphis Rap Sigils, stating, "For those who want a quick and easy reference for the supposed sigils, these 5 rappers are generally agreed upon to have tapes that contain chopped samples of the murder/are the sigils, NOD in their 1996 album NOD, Maniac more specifically in Hellraiser from his 1994 tape World of a Psycho, Lil Ramsey in his 1994 tape Going Undercover, Halls of Hell in their 1994 tape Living in a Casket, apparently playing this one backwards has mysterious consequences, Psycho in his 1995 tape Return of a Psycho. These next few are also said to contain the sigil samples, but they are not widely agreed upon. I have arranged them in most likely to contain the sigil to least likely based on different testimonies I have read. N-word creep, exactly which tape or track is claimed to be a sigil, I do not know. I have heard that the sigil track was released sometime in 1995. It is said this supposed sigil track can be heard in the compilation tape Demons Taking Over Me, Children of the Corn either in the 1995 The Single tape or in the 1996 Which Way Should I Go track, DJ Fella in his 1995 tape N-Words Don't Die Part 1, Black Hole Posse, more specifically in Mind of a Killer from their 1996 album Sounds of a Murder. According to rumors, most available versions of these songs don't actually contain the murder energy, but the originals supposedly have them. It is also of note that the versions of these songs/mixtapes on streaming services such as YouTube and Spotify do not contain the dark energy present in the sigils, only the original cassette releases, which are extremely hard to find, only popping up on eBay every so often, serving more as collector items. Since the inclusion of the initial theories regarding the sigils, as well as the Memphis rap scene itself, more began to pop up in threads on 4chan. In these theories, they make reference to several real-life places and occurrences that had taken place in the 90s, with one post stating, "Some will say this is just an aesthetic, regardless of 3 6 admitting to doing rituals themselves. This thing came around the same way rappers rap about money and clothes. Just in Memphis, it was about the devil and murder. Memphis has been long known as a interesting area. You can look up things like the Memphis Pyramid or the West Memphis 3. Around the time of 93 is when things are supposed to get sort of paranormal. This is when the Memphis Inner Circle was formed. It was rumored to be made up of around 30 people who were local artists and producers. It was said to be made of people from Whitehaven, Fraser, and Orange Mound, all of which are neighborhoods in Memphis. Profit Entertainment and Street Smart Records are 2 labels which were said to mostly build up the Inner Circle roster. Furthermore, there are a few tales of back in the day concerning groups like the COC and the Bat Tower in Florida Keys. Also, the West Memphis 3 and 10 Dead Men. I should probably add about Tommy Wright and 4 Corners. In many of Tommy's tracks or tracks he's produced, he has references to the 4 Corners. In interviews, he stated that the 4 Corners was a place which he and his friends hung out at. It was somewhere in Whitehaven, Memphis. When described the location, it takes up around 5 blocks, which most of it being suburbs or Main Street. I want to take a look at another possible meaning for 4 Corners, a crossroad for instance, has 4 corners. I've heard some reference to this and the West Memphis 3, but that road is a little obvious. I will, however, mention that Tommy's 4 corner references begun in 1993, shortly after the West Memphis 3. 4 corners can also be seen in regards to Ezekiel 7:2, which is often used for the reference to the hour of doom in the Bible, the coming of the end. Demons like Kaifu or Murmur are also known to travel the crossroads and offer deals in exchange for warsuit. Some claim that's who Juice or XXXTentacion was in contact with. It should also be mentioned that while 3 6 Mafia are arguably the most popular group to come out of the Memphis scene, none of their music is tied to the Sigils at all, yet many of its core members remain extremely successful to this day. It could be possible that while not directly involved in Sigil creation, like many of the artists on this list, the members of the sinister rap group might have partaken in some form of dark ritual during their early days as artists. However, no evidence seems to have surfaced, save for one odd interview with 3 6 member Coops Danica during his own New World Order documentary, in which he details the origins of 3 6's photo shoot for their first album, Mystic Styles.
It was a lot of crazy shit going on. We went downtown to do an album cover for Mystic Styles. And you know me, of course, I'm so with the shit. I got on the guy, this me on the cross. Just me, Paul Lord, and Juice with Crunch on there. He wasn't there, he wasn't part of the group. You know, Boo had been across yet, and all them other guys. While down there is a building, it's called a factory something. But right now it's on Riverside somewhere. All them houses up on Riverside and shit. It's a warehouse. We ran across some shit we weren't looking for. While at the same time we heard 666, but then we realized there's some real shit going on. It was actually motherfuckers in this building with the little robes and shit on, little altar up on that motherfucking, looking in that motherfucker. So, you know, we got caught down there. They made us watch. So, you know, we leaving, well, that was the second time. The first time police would put up like, Memphis police said, y'all shouldn't be down here. So that let me know right then there was some shit going on in this world, in this city by rich folks and politicians that's in this shit. And this shit is really serious. So I told myself, hey, well, I'm not the kind to drink blood, because you know there's 150 some ways of worshiping Satan. Voodoo, you got Satanists, occults, all kind of shit, witchcraft, sorcerers, all this shit. So I guess I was just a goddamn messenger. You get what I'm saying? This shit is real. I went by Southwind and ran across a motherfucker with a bonfire. You know what I'm saying? So the thing about it, I said, I guess I was, what you call that? You know, I was a clean, fancy type Satanist.
While many of these strange happenings as a whole have supposedly stayed in the then relatively unknown rap scene in Memphis, many claim that there may have been something bigger that goes beyond murder and standard ritualistic practices. This is where the conspiracy starts to get a little ridiculous, if I'm being honest. This all stems from an odd post on 4chan stating, "What's up with Memphis Rap? Did 3 bands really summon the god from the 4th corner over the spirits of 3 sacrificed children? Are there really gateways to hell in Memphis? And if it is all true, which are the bands who participated, and which albums aligned to form the sigil? And how is it accessed and utilized?" Within the post, a certain phrase has boggled the mind of me and a lot of other investigators into this conspiracy. Did 3 bands really summon the god from the 4th corner over the spirits of 3 sacrificed children? What could they possibly be talking about? Well, according to a podcast episode of the show Dead Rabbit Radio, the theory goes as such. Memphis shares the name with an ancient city in Egypt. There, they worship the god Peta, a creator god that had existed before anything else. The 4th corner, as mentioned in songs by 10 Wanted Men, Tommy Wright III, and more, refer to a location west of the city of Memphis. This then ties into the very real and very publicized case of the West Memphis 3, in which at the time 3 young boys were brutally murdered and their bodies left in a riverbank in West Memphis, Arkansas in 1993. 3 teenagers were arrested and convicted of these murders but were later acquitted. The theory proposes that the West Memphis 3 murders were ritualistic sacrifices to the god PETA or some other unknown deity. However, with no evidence to support any of these claims, they merely remain an absurd conspiracy talk. Memphis, Tennessee, a place home to dark energy and downright evil music. With this, many have begun to ponder and investigate possible claims of ritualistic killings, satanic worship, and ancient evils far beyond our mind's reach. However, in reality, the music merely serves as a metaphor of the horrors of the reality of Memphis during the 90s, metaphors for real death, real suffering, and real evil. This has been Yoshimi, and have a good night.
Perfect, I can put it in on a motherfucker who's coming for it.